Welcome back to another Unplayable card review. As always, let's start by announcing the giveaway winner from our last video, ZSH. Congratulations! Thanks for your support. I've already sent you an email with info to redeem your prize. There will be another giveaway winner at the end of this video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. With that said, today's card is a community suggestion provided by John Thomas Moore. Spirit Mirror. Spirit Mirror is a 4-mana white enchantment that costs 2 generic and 2 white mana. At $1.12, Spirit Mirror currently only appears in about 500 decks on EDH Rec. It has 2 abilities. First, at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are no reflection tokens on the battlefield, you create a 2/2 white reflection creature token. Then, you may pay 0 mana to destroy target reflection at instant speed. Surprisingly, this is not the only card in Magic that makes a reflection token. There are actually 3. In blue, Elerios Enraptured makes a 3/2 blue reflection when he enters. In white, outside of Spirit Mirror, you have Pure Reflection, which has each player creating and destroying reflection tokens anytime they cast a creature spell. Sadly, there isn't really any synergy between these cards. Elerios works best as a blink target to repeatedly make reflection tokens, and both Spirit Mirror and Pure Reflection actively destroy these tokens for little benefit. In other words, we'll have to look elsewhere for ways in which we can take advantage of Spirit Mirror's unusual abilities. Thankfully, there are some strategies that may be interested in this old white enchantment. Starting with creature type changing decks. One thing you may have missed about Spirit Mirror's second ability is that it isn't a sacrifice effect. It destroys any creature with the reflection type. This includes your creatures and creatures you don't control. If you're playing a deck that can turn your opponent's creatures into a reflection, Spirit Mirror becomes an incredibly efficient way to repeatedly delete your opponent's boards. And there are more ways to do this than you might think. Blue is the best color at doing this. With cards like Image Crafter, Amoeboid Changeling, Mistform Mutant, and Unnatural Selection that can repeatedly alter a creature's types to take advantage of a card like Spirit Mirror. Blue also has some one-shot effects like Trickery Charm and Standardize. Standardize is especially potent, as it turns all creatures into reflections, essentially turning Spirit Mirror into a one-sided board wipe. Outside of blue, your options are limited, with Shields of Velisvel and Blades of Velisvel being your best options to snipe multiple creatures with a single spell. While these require a little more setup compared to your options in blue, you can imprint these instants onto an Isochron Scepter to set up a removal engine. Notably, both of these spells also have Changeling, meaning they have all creature types, which can enable some niche synergies with cards like Zask, Skittering Swarmlord, or Hakon, Stromgald Scourge. With these cards in play, you can cast spells of a certain creature type from your graveyard, and that includes both Shields and Blades of Velisvel. Finally, there's one more way you can turn all of your opponent's creatures into reflections, Maskwood Nexus. If you can donate this to one of your opponents, or better yet, use Fractured Identity to give each of your opponents a copy of this permanent, Spirit Mirror becomes the most incredible removal option in the game, letting you instantly remove every creature that hits the battlefield on your opponent's control. Brutal. Some other cards that can take advantage of these creature type changing effects include Coastal Drake, Knight of the Mists, Wooden Stake, Undead Slayer, Rashida Scalebane, Suleiman's Legacy, Cut the Tethers, Anzarin Ruins, Extinction, Plague Sliver, Angel of Glory's Rise, King Suleiman, Mercenary Informer, Rebel Informer, Dwarven Demolition Team, Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, and more. Some options for commanders that could build around this strategy include Gore Muldrak Amphanologist, Hatham Kenway, Omo Queen of Vesuva, Sliver Overlord, and more. Moving on, another strategy that may be interested in Spirit Mirror is Aristocrat decks, especially outside of black. Cards that can repeatedly make free creature tokens are extremely powerful in Aristocrat shells, as they essentially give you a free death trigger every turn. Bitter Blossom, Jadar Ghoulcaller of Nephalia, and Ophiomancer are popular examples of cards that do this. And while 4 mana is a little steep for this effect, Spirit Mirror is still worth considering in this strategy. Similar to Jadar and Ophiomancer, Spirit Mirror will only make a token if you control no other reflections. However, unlike those other cards, it comes with a built-in pseudo-sack outlet, guaranteeing that you will get your death triggers off of cards like Morbid Opportunist, Ellis Ilkor Sadistic Pilgrim, or even Rockslide Elemental. This is even more important when you are playing a non-black Aristocrat deck, as black easily has the most Aristocrats payoffs, with powerful spells like Bastion of Remembrance, Pitiless Plunderer, Dark Prophecy, and many, many more. That said, non-black Aristocrats is definitely still possible, thanks to colorless cards like Skullclamp, Relic Vial, and Weatherlight Completed. In white, I'd also recommend Norn's Wellspring, Daxos Blessed by the Sun, and Luminous Broodmoth. While not as relevant to Spirit Mirror, I'm also a fan of cards like Pyre's Ledge Arsonist, Vicious Shadows, Gimli Mournful Avenger, and Aid from the Cowl, as other non-black Aristocrats payoffs. As one of the most popular archetypes in Casual Commander, there is no shortage of options for an Aristocrats commander, although most players tend to gravitate towards Orzhov colors, with powerful commanders like Teysa Karlov and Elenda the Dusk Rose. If you want to get a little more strange, however, I'd recommend options like Anafenza Unyielding Lineage, Asmira Holy Avenger, Lulu Loyal Hollyphant, Brian Stout Arm, or Kaikar Wind's Fury. Kaikar could even overlap with the creature type changing strategy I mentioned earlier, definitely something worth exploring. Finally, I want to mention one more specific strategy that can take advantage of Spirit Mirror: Conspiracy combo decks. Conspiracy is a one-of-a-kind black enchantment that costs 3 generic and 2 black mana. It reads, as this enchantment enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Now, this may sound similar to a card like Arcane Adaptation or Leyline of Transformation, but there is one very important detail that is completely unique to Conspiracy. It does not say in addition to its other types. This means that, unlike a card like Arcane Adaptation, Conspiracy overrides a creature's types to become only the type you chose. If you were to name Brushwag, for example, and then cast a Savannah Lions, it would enter as a 2/1 Brushwag with no other creature types. This also applies to token creatures. If you were to name any creature type other than Reflections, while you have both Spirit Mirror and Conspiracy in play, you would get a 2/2 token each upkeep, as Spirit Mirror no longer recognizes its own reflections. And the shenanigans don't end there. Abyssal Harvester won't exile his Nightmare tokens. Ophiomancer makes a snake on every upkeep. Endrick Sar, Master Breeder, will never die to his thralls. Otherworldly Escort will never become a spirit and keeps returning himself to the battlefield. Junji the Midnight Sky can reanimate itself. Requiem Angel goes infinite with a sack outlet. Pure Reflection never destroys your tokens. Wick the World Mind makes infinite creatures and draws the game. Glorious Protector lets you blink your board infinite times, and the list goes on. There are hundreds of interesting interactions and combos you can explore with Conspiracy, and if you've already got a deck that's built to abuse some of these unique lines of play, I highly suggest you consider adding Spirit Mirror to your list, especially if you're running any other creature type changing effects. Some white commanders that I haven't yet mentioned who may already be using Conspiracy include Altair Ibn La Ahad, Reaper King, Rukarumel Biologist, and Shilgengar Sire of Famine. Moving on, it's time to give Spirit Mirror a rating and ask the question, is this card actually unplayable in the Commander format? No. In my opinion, Spirit Mirror is the perfect amount of playable jank. I give it 3.5 dumpsters out of 7. But I want to know what you think. Are you one of the 500 people currently playing Spirit Mirror in a deck? Are there other ways you could make Spirit Mirror even more effective? Let me know in the comments below and feel free to leave suggestions for cards you want to see me review in the future. And before you go, let's talk about our next giveaway. We've got another Edge of Eternities booster pack to give away, and to enter you have to do 2 things. First, if you haven't yet, fill out the form in the description of this video to share your email address and YouTube username with me. This will let me contact the winner of the giveaway to get their shipping address. Once you've done that, simply leave a comment on this video for a chance to win. I'll announce the winner in my next Unplayable card review. And while you do not need to subscribe to my channel to win, I do hope you'll subscribe so you don't miss any future videos or giveaways. Thanks again for watching my video.